Okay, so Ethiopia is saving the world by planting trees, and a shout out to our friend Kirk who pointed me to the story. So, according to
So Ethiopia, you said, right?
Ethiopia, yes, sorry for my
Got it.
pronunciation. So, according to the BBC, Ethiopia has probably broken the world record in trees planting by volunteers by planting 350 million trees in one day. And this is part of the Green Legacy initiative by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, I hope I pronounced this correctly, to counter the effects of deforestation and climate change. And I was curious about the priorities of this government in Ethiopia because it's one of the poorest countries in the world. It has over 100 million in population and a relatively low electrification rate. The average Ethiopian uses less than 10% of the energy the average American uses. And the nominal GDP is something about $800 per year. And so this is a very poor country. None of the development metrics are anywhere near that of a developed country. And although some progress has been present in recent years, this is very there are huge challenges to this country, to say the least. So, and as the BBC reported, critics of Mr. Abiy said he is using the campaign to distract the public from the challenges his government is facing, including ethnic conflicts, which have forced some 2.5 million people from their homes. And so I would say, yeah, okay, planting trees, we get it. That's a climate policy, but wasting manual labor on that by volunteers um, is not going to cut it in Ethiopia. They have different problems on their plate, and the country is actually too poor to make any difference in climate policies or global emissions. Right. So reforestation might be important down the road because recently there has been some deforestation, like significant parts of the country have experienced drought, and has been deforestation going on. But the underlying cause of all of this is, of course, the poverty of Ethiopian citizens, right? So this is the first thing you need to fix, because otherwise, you can't really in the long term change things like the forest area in your country, and two, no matter what the climate or weather pattern in your locality will be by 2050 or 2100, if your population is poor, a lot of people will suffer under any climate. So this can be a priority of the government of such a impoverished country.
Yeah, and I think that's true, but very understated because I just think about, and this is even an understated analogy, but imagine that you have like some politician says, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to the ghettos of America, and I'm gonna force everyone in the ghettos to spend, 1 day a week. Each person in the ghetto has to spend, let's say, 12 hours uh, digging holes in the ground and filling them back up. And like that's, and you would say, whoa, whoa, whoa. First of all, that's not probably the most valuable use of that's not even not the most valuable use of their time, but they don't have time to spare. Like, these are people who need all the time they can get to produce, and they're already poor. So what's happening in Ethiopia? I mean, you're taking poor people and you're taking away their time, and you're taking away their time to do something that is not even remotely their highest priority. So it has, and I don't know exactly is this all voluntary? Is there some sort of compulsion? But I mean, if the government is leading it, there's some sort of compulsion one way or another. So either they're getting some poor person is paying for them to do this directly, or they're basically just being enslaved to plant trees. But well, that's basically just digging holes in the ground and then putting some dirt around the trees. So it's just, I mean, you are just wasting the time and money of poor people who and making them even poorer. And this is the opposite of being pro-human, and it's the opposite of being pro-freedom, and it's part of why being pro-freedom is essential to being pro-human, because when you have freedom, then individual human beings can be pro-human primarily for themselves, and they can actually act in a way that they judge to be in their interest. Whereas as soon as you have anti-freedom, even if the government says that it's acting in people's interest, it has no means of knowing what's in everybody's interest. And by the nature of the system, it's just going to sacrifice some people's resources and freedom for the alleged benefit of others, but doesn't even know what the benefit of those others is. So I just want to keep emphasizing that we can't separate being pro-human from being pro-freedom. So we need government policies that value human beings, and really how they value human beings is that they leave individuals free to pursue, life, or to, to live their lives and to have liberty, and to, create and to produce and trade property, and then to pursue happiness. So human flourishing and human freedom are inextricably linked.